Well, tonight in San Francisco, it's all about what Apple is going to do better. Now, Apple has already sold 1 billion iPhones, and in that Herculean achievement lies the Achilles reality of sales and numbers. You just can't keep that performance level up forever. Well, today's Apple event is the first time that a new edition of the iPhone has been introduced on sales that have fallen and not risen. All right, here are some of the features of the new iPhone 7 today. All right, new wireless headphones. You're not going to have to stick those headphones into the phone anymore. A longer battery life. We're going to talk about if that's realistic. A new and improved camera, 2 cameras if you get the big version, and water and dust resistant in case you're going to the desert and in for a swim. All right, take a look now at the moment when Apple lifted the covers on the new iPhone.
It's the best iPhone that we have ever created. This is iPhone 7.
iPhone 7 is the most singular, the most evolved representation of this design.
All right. In the market, are consumers going to believe what we just heard there? Let's pull in Eric Hazeldahl. He is a tech analyst. He joins me now via Skype from New York. He has covered Apple many years. He's an Apple expert, if you will. Good evening to you, Eric. It felt like the CEO of Apple was really having to force that sale today. It wasn't the best iPhone debut we have ever seen, was it?
No, I wouldn't say that it is. I think it's, again, very incremental on a lot of important, we saw a lot of important advancements. We saw Apple take kind of an interesting stand around the headphone jack, that they call that technology that's about a century old, which is kind of true. But what's really happening here is I think we're seeing a lot of things being positioned for 2017, which is really when the iPhone becomes 10 years old. And I think it will be on Apple to really show that it can produce some real magic in 2017. That's really we were seeing sort of the chess pieces being put in place for next year.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly, a year from now when we're talking, people are going to expect, something really big. Maybe the expectations weren't as big today as they will be in a year from now. But let's talk about what was good and what wasn't so good. What would you say was the best takeaway from today's announcement?
I think Apple kind of showed its cards in that it really intends to use its Siri technology and put it much more front and center. And one of the important things that you saw there was with those wireless earbuds. Essentially, they're identical to the old earbuds, but without the wire. And they're making that technology of Siri part of its machine intelligence, artificial intelligence platform. That's really where the battle is taking place between Apple and Facebook and Microsoft even and Amazon as well, are all trying really hard to make computers responsive to our voices through intelligent computing. And so we'll see Apple work really hard there.
And those earbuds that you don't have to plug into the phone, they will come with the new phone, right? Because we've had people in the newsroom even saying, oh my gosh, now we're going to have to go and buy new headphones again. But they will come with the new phone, right?
They will come with the new phone, and then I believe you can also buy them separately. And one critique I have of that is that, A, they're not connected, so you have yet another thing that you could possibly lose in a case or a briefcase or what have you. And B, you've got another thing to charge. So, once you put them in the little carrying case, they charge in there, but now you've got to charge your phone, you've got to charge your watch, and whatever else. So now you've got 3 things minimum that you're going to be charging.
Yeah, more places that you have to plug into when you're traveling at the airport. That is always a joy. I want us to take a listen to what the Apple co-founder, Steve Wozniak, and what he had to say. It was a little over a year ago at the CeBIT Global Conferences in Hanover, Germany, where you have also been as a moderator. Wozniak was quick to confirm that consumers may not be as demanding of Apple as maybe the market is and we journalists tend to be. Take a listen to what he said.
This is the best place for the masses of the world, is the iPhone. And you know what? To some of my friends, I'll recommend even Android phones. I'll say, oh my gosh, what you like to do and all the things you're into, and you should get, here's a great phone I highly recommend. You should get the Note 3 or something. But for the right person, the masses, oh my gosh, stick with an iPhone. It's the safest bet you can make.
Do we expect too much from Apple?
Do we expect too much from Apple? We expect a lot from Apple. But Apple has a lot built in just because of the passionate followers. So I don't know if it's a question of expecting too much. Yes, I think there's an awful lot of people in the technology community, the bloggers, the people that are looking for hot new products like the iPhone and the iPad to come out again very quickly. I want to wait. It's been 6 months. What does Apple have? And I think there's too much expectation that Apple can do something in a half a year that normally happens once a decade.
What do you say to that, Eric? Do we expect too much from Apple, every time this September show comes along?
I think between 2001 with the launch of the initial iPod and 2010 with the, I believe that was a year, it was either 2009 or 2010, the launch of the iPad, we saw an awful lot of fundamentally new products come from Apple. In that time, and since Steve Jobs has passed away and Tim Cook has been in charge, we haven't seen much in the way of fundamentally new products from Apple. We've seen improvements and software improvements and improvements around the margins, really, but we haven't seen a new class of product, the exception being the Apple Watch, and that, by some stretch of argument, was really not terribly compelling, at least from the beginning. And so we'll see if this new generation of watches is more compelling and see if consumers warm up to it.
What would be your advice to, doubting Tom consumers today? Should they buy, take a chance with the iPhone 7, or should they wait a year for the big, 1.0 anniversary?
It depends on where you are. I literally just bought a brand new iPhone SE, partially because I prefer the smaller size. I don't like the larger size of the 6 or the 6S. It's essentially not that different. If you have one that's maybe one generation back, I don't see any reason not to, because upgrading, Apple has now got ownership plans, monthly installment plans. You're entitled to a new phone once a year. So there's really no risk in buying one now if you want to upgrade for the 10-year anniversary, whatever they decide to do next year. So the risk is really limited. All
right. Eric Hazeldahl on the East Coast of the U.S. tonight, talking about the good and the bad side of this Apple event. Eric, as always, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Apple's big reveal split opinion on social media. Many people were excited about the new iPhone, while others, they did have their doubts. Now, this user seemed a bit skeptical. Literally every single component of the iPhone 7 appears to have been improved, yet as a whole, it is a totally unremarkable device. Others seemed resigned to change. The new iPhone could have worse battery life, no memory, and a black and white camera, and we would all still buy it. And some predicted problems with Apple's new headphones. They weren't sure that the iPhone was going to work with its wireless headphones. We'll have to wait and see. No matter what happens between now and then, remember, everyone, tomorrow is another day. I'm Brent Goff. For all of us here in Berlin, thanks for the company. We will see you tomorrow.